Hello everyone, Mr. E here reporting live for SLOPTIDE News Network with a small news bulletin coming out about Hotfix 67 for Darktide. This is a small set of changes, a couple that are pretty normal for the experience at this point, some rotation of Havoc modifiers and missions, but then something a little bit more curious that I might need your help, being the intrepid investigators and truth-seeking individuals that you are in my community. So let's first talk about these Havoc changes, the less interesting of the two dilemmas. We are losing two missions, Chasm Logistratum and Chasm Station. Of these two, Chasm Station was the easy one, Logistratum is the hard one. I think they're both very good, very fun, well laid out missions. We are replacing them with Silo Cluster and Smelter Complex. Silo Cluster in particular is a beast of a mission. This is one of the hardest missions in the game, in my opinion, and yeah, it's not going to pull any punches, that's for sure. So that one, look for that one to be very dangerous for Havoc runs, but Smelter Complex is a fairly easy mission to balance that out. More interestingly for many players, we are finally losing the Blight Spreads. If Fatshark is listening to this, I'm going to use this moment to cast aside my objectivity as a news reporter and just get on my soapbox here and say, can we just please 86 the Blight Spreads for good here? I think that we are over it collectively as a community, those of us who play Havoc, at least until such time as the Zealot is reworked and has free access to any of its auras. It is so interminably boring and obnoxious to have to change my fundamentals of my build. I can't play certain builds at all because I have to get this middle aura in order to deal with the green goop on the floor. And yeah, I just think that's anti-fun, it's anti-variety, and I hate it. So if we could just not do the Blight Spreads again anytime soon, that would be great. We're replacing it with Cranial Corruption. That's where the enemies can't be crowd controlled when they have this brain parasite and they explode and knock back you and the enemies upon being killed by a ranged attack headshot. So those are the changes coming to Havoc. Let's talk about the other changes coming to the game, starting with this right here. Banter is more likely to play in Heresy and above difficulties. So this is something that I think players had maybe noticed, maybe not noticed. It's kind of hard to notice if you've played Darktide for a while, but comparing it to its predecessor Vermintide 2, Darktide has a way of just feeling very sterile. The characters don't talk at all outside of elevators, generally. Elevators are about the only place where voice lines seem to trigger, you know, the actual conversational voice lines. And that is because on higher difficulties, there's such an incidence of elites and specials and things that the player characters are programmed to alert everyone to. So like you hear a dog and one of the characters will call out, "Dog incoming," or whatever, and that breaks the coding. It says like, okay, well, pause, don't start a voice line right now, don't start a banter because it'll get interrupted by active combat, by active callouts from the other characters. And so the only time you hear it is when there is like complete downtime, you aren't near any enemies at all. And so it seems like they're fixing that so that you do hear some banter back and forth, which is great for those of us who like to sort of mine that banter and figure out, like, is there something coming to the game based on the in-game dialogue. Speaking of the in-game dialogue, level 30 rejects will no longer talk about Ratlings. My question is, what does Fatshark mean by this? And this is where I perhaps might need to employ some of you brilliant minds in the community to sleuth this out, or perhaps put a fresh set of eyes on such a statement as this. I attempted to peruse the Fatshark forums thread here and see what they were thinking about it, but as per usual, this Fatshark thread is comprised of about 50% people by volume that just want to piss and moan about the general state of the game and how what's being developed isn't anything that anyone cares about, and how it takes so long between developing, and how this is probably not going to be anything that anyone cares about, and God, I hate this game and I hate my life. Why are you commenting on this forum, my dude? Log off is what I want to say. So let's use the comments in this video to perhaps have a more constructive conversation. If you have a different perspective than what I'm about to share, something that maybe I haven't thought of, a reason why this might be happening, let me know. What I think is one of two options. My first option, perhaps the more optimistic one, is that we will be seeing a player character Ratling, which is something that has been much requested by the community for a while now. Maybe not with this update, but with a future update, and maybe this will only be accessible at level 30 and above, and therefore, well, and above, there's no above, but once you reach level 30, and therefore, once you have reached that level of access, then it wouldn't make any sense for your character to talk about Ratlings because they have been exposed to Ratlings. I think that's probably optimistic, considering I don't think we saw any evidence of Ratlings in the 4-second teaser we saw, at least for this trailer. And then the other, perhaps more realistic / pessimistic, would be that Ratlings in some regard are coming as NPCs or interactable characters that interact with the game mechanics in Havoc in some way, because Havoc is one of the few things in the game that unlocks at level 30. So presumably your character has joined the warband, they're leveling up, they're getting the trust levels up, and then once they reach level 30 and they get access to Havoc missions and the Mobian 22nd, Mobian 53rd and Commissar Duquesne and that stuff, they have now interacted with Ratlings, and therefore it wouldn't make any sense for them to talk about these Ratlings in hypothetical terms anymore. Because if you haven't heard these voice lines, since they are kind of uncommon in higher difficulties, the voice lines are all speculative about how excellent it would be to have Ratlings fighting alongside us, because of, they could, this many Ratlings could take down this whole army, etc., completely spurious about what Ratlings could do to help our current heretical situation. So that stuff might get phased out because you have now interacted with it within Havoc or some other coming game mode or something like that. So if you have any other ideas about that perhaps I'm just overlooking, or you have a fresh perspective on it, please let me know down in the comments. Outside of that, as far as interesting changes, there is a change so that now no longer when you come out of a mission, it will no longer default you to the Morningstar voice channel or the text channel, so that when you type like, GG guys, make sure to add me for the next game, it won't just post it to the whole Morningstar, and instead of posting it to the party where you meant to post it. And I'm gonna kind of miss that, because I always like to bully people who accidentally put their personal deets into the Morningstar general chat. But that's everything. If you enjoyed this little news briefing, make certain that you are liked and subscribed to Mr. E and SLOPTIDE News Network, and I'll see you very soon for some more Darktide slop. Have a good one, everyone.